Welcome back to the Weekly News Roundup. This is the business edition. These are recorded live Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you want to catch the show live. If you're not getting notifications, double check if you are still subscribed and that notifications are on. And if you are not, have a look at the social media accounts. That's give you a little bit of extra peace of mind. I post there when I post a new video and not a whole lot more. Those are on Twitter, Gab, Minds, and Mastodon. I am on the Fostodon server at switchedtolinux. So let's go ahead and dive on in. And this one here, whoa, I am still on my privacy feed. Let me go ahead and fix my business stuff there. There we are. Now we're fixed. Sorry about that. All right. So this was a neat one, and I had to include this article because every time some article about vaping comes up, people lose their crap. And now I want to do a little experiment and see what happens when we talk about vaping and COVID at the same time. Because there's, for some reason, a lot of people have it in their heads that vaping is safe because vaping is safer than smoking. And I'm not going to argue that point necessarily. Obviously, burning flaming plants full of tar and chemicals into your body is less harmful than inhaling water vapor with chemicals into your body, but neither of them are actually optimal for what you're doing. And what I love about this is the crazy people that sometimes come out of the woodwork. Like Moses, the last time I actually talked about vaping, and this was just the most glorious exchange I've ever seen in my comment section. I thought it was great. So I forget exactly when this was, but he says, what does your anti-e-cigarette propaganda have to do with Linux? Well, FYI, this is actually more of a security and privacy channel than, well, more of a privacy channel than a Linux, but either way. You are inadvertently serving the will of giant pharmaceutical corporations and tobacco corporations, and you have lost me as a subscriber. So I said to him, bye. Sorry if you cannot handle the truth about putting poison in your body. He replies, oh, so now you're also a toxicologist, perhaps like you're a Linux expert. Actually, Mr. Moses, yes, I am a toxicologist. I actually have a PhD in toxicology. Not even kidding. Technically, though, my degree says a doctorate of philosophy in integrative biological sciences with an emphasis in molecular toxicology. And you can read about my work in PPAR regulation right there. That should still be a valid link. So yes, I do actually have a PhD in this exact field, and I just love getting under the goads of the people who want to argue with it. So let's go ahead and have a look at the headline and what it says, because that was just too fun of an exchange. So vaping linked to higher risk of COVID-19 in teens and young adults, studies find. Now, there's a whole flock of what in science we call black swans flocking on by. Because first and foremost, who are the people who got tested for COVID? Oh, the people with breathing problems. So basically, people who breathe poison intentionally into their bodies tend to get tested more for COVID-19. And if they get tested more for COVID-19, clearly, there are more positives. So here's the actual article from Science Direct. This is from the Journal of Adolescent Health. And we have the basic abstract, the conclusions COVID-19 is associated with. In other words, there is some type of correlation. Now, is it causative? In other words, does vaping give you COVID-19? Obviously not, duh. But it is associated. In other words, people who tend to smoke, people who tend to vape, tend to test positive for COVID-19 more. I propose that this is because they're getting tested more, but we'll see what the paper actually says. Dual use of e-cigarettes and cigarettes suggesting the need for screening and education. These people not already realize that inhaling poison is not good? There's no point in educating. Just let them do what they want to do, okay? I'm okay if you want to vape out. Just stop saying it's safe. You can say it's safer than cigarettes. I'll agree with you. But saying it's safe? Nah, not really. So here's basically the chart. This is just kind of, we have some weighted symptoms here. We have some unweighted symptoms here. Let me see if I can, okay, there we are. You guys may not be able to see that as well, but it's actually cutting off our table. Okay, that's actually good there too. All right, so our overall total, we had 4,000 teenagers in the study. The non-users represented, is it 50% about? And the e-cigarette users represented about 50%. Slightly more e-users than never users. And then we have symptoms, COVID-19 related symptoms. You can see that the never smokers have had a significant drop, almost half the percentage of people who are e-users. So in other words, if you breathe stuff in, you tend to have more difficulties breathing, a key sign of COVID. And then they did another one. I think the second one here is actual tests. So if the people who were tested, the never users only had 5.7 positive cases versus the e-cigarette users had 17. So what could possibly cause this? Well, like I said, number one possible cause is that it's just that more people got tested. You can see, though, that they had a very equivalent number. Maybe they cherry-picked numbers. Maybe they did something else. I can give you a proposition for why people who are e-smokers could have, if they indeed have a higher chance of having COVID. Let me tell you why. Because everyone's wearing these masks, looking like idiots, being like, I'm safe, yo, I got on my mask. And then they got to pull down their mask. And I've not seen people do it correctly like this, only touching the sides of the straps. I always see people do this, okay? And then you get this thing up next to your face, or a cigarette, where you're touching your face, and now you're taking all of the stuff, all of the viruses, all of the germs, all of the things that the mask has been concentrating on your face, touching your face, and then putting it in your mouth. And that causes you to reinfect yourself with a lot of crap. So if you're going to be vaping, stop wearing a mask. That's what's causing it. That's my thought. That's a rant. Let's get off it. So let's head on over to Walmart. Test same-day delivery with Instacart. They're trying to battle with Amazon same-day delivery stuff. You know, like Amazon, I don't think Amazon has same-day, but Amazon's like the next day. Walmart's like, hey, we're going to do, we realize that people don't like our crazy Walmart employees showing up to their house. Let's try the Instacart people. People are generally okay with the Instacart folks showing up. And so the Instacart folks start showing up, and basically Walmart is trying to team up in order to tackle Amazon. And because Walmart and Amazon, you know, the two big corporations who have double and triple and quadrupled down their profits while mom and pop shops were forced to shut down, are now vying for global dominance. Which one of them is going to win? It's like watching Godzilla versus King Kong, I guess. I don't know. And then we're just down here trying not to get stomped on. But, you know, that's just kind of what's been going on there. All right, so next we got, do you need $200 quick? Well, Square, remember Square, the little like PayPal competitor? Well, now Square is experimenting with short-term loans with an APR of 60%. My God, people. A 60% APR to borrow $200 from Square. At what point in time are state legislators going to step in and say, excuse me, Square, I think that that's actually breaking our usury laws, which do exist in most states. So, you know, can we just like ban this or something? So need a short, brief loan quickly? There's always payday lenders. So basically Square is saying, hey, we're going to be a loan shark now too. Payday lenders, the scum of the underbelly. These guys are actually worse than credit card debt collectors. They're like the lower rung of pawn scum down there. Annual percentage rate's almost 4%. A better option. Oh my God. Oh boy. Calculate typical loan interest rate. So states with the payday loan debt trap, states with some protections against them, and states which can stop the debt trap. So some of y'all states can stop the debt trap. Some of you guys aren't. You can see these guys here, the percentages. These are what the legal percent, I think they're the legal percentages, or maybe that's the percentages what payday loans are doing. There's actually usury laws, so it'd be worth checking into those. I would not borrow money from Square. If you got Square on your device, guys, I would actually close your accounts and be like, yeah, until you guys stop stop exploiting people, because guess who, if there's any BLM members here watching, guess who is actually exploited most by these types of things? Your black population and your poor populations. Those two populations you guys are allegedly fighting for. So why don't you guys go and cancel Square for a while? It'll be funny to watch. I'll be over here watching with the background going, that's a fun play. But anyway, that's kind of my thought there. All right, let's go ahead and head on over to our affiliate for the day. If you'd like to help support the channel, have a look at A2 Hosting. This is where I host my clients' websites. You can get a shared hosting plan for your starting rate of $3 a month. And you can buy, I believe, up to 3 years at a time at that rate. So you can drop 3 years worth on that, have your hosting service taken care of for the next 3 years. After that, it's going to be $9. These guys are excellent service. They have free SSLs. And overall, a very good service. You can get VPS hostings for like $5 a month, and there's some dedicated servers there as well. So if you're looking for any of those, so have a look at them, tlm.li/A2H. All right, on to the news. So Uber may shut down in California if it's forced to classify drivers as employees, the CEO says. It's like, we can't afford to pay them like that. Yeah. I mean, Uber actually had like a $1.8 billion loss, I believe. Is that Uber, I think? That was pretty huge. And so basically what this is just following this big saga of this constant fight in California over are they employees or are they contractors. And the Supreme Court in California just ruled this week that indeed they have to be classified as employees, which means that Uber has to be paying, their W-2 payroll taxes. They have to be giving benefits, a few other perks that employees have. And I mean, this has always been kind of a split line here. So Uber's saying, not a permanent thing, but they're saying, hey, we're going to pull out of California for a while they work on restructuring and figuring this out. Now, according to the IRS, I don't know about California, but according to the IRS, Uber could have gotten around this, according to the IRS, by each city having a certain number of full-time paid employees, and then using everybody else as contractors, because that's one of the T-tests involved. So I think it's the W-8. If I remember correctly, it's the W-8 form or something 8 form at the IRS form that is the means test to determine if you are an employee or a contractor. There is no super clear cut. There's a series of rules, and you have to be on the majority of the 8 points that they tend to follow. And in those 8 points, some of these things, Uber is very clearly contractor. Some of these things, Uber is very clearly employee. And so where the split happens to be, according to the IRS, is do you actually hire real people to do these functions and then bring on the contractors to take on the extra load? So for example, when I was working in software sales, I was a contract employee. The company, however, had a full-time, I think they had 2 full-time employees in my position. This is what they did to make sure that they were falling within the IRS rulings. So they had 2 full-time employees that their job was to do what I was doing. Those guys, they got into the office at 9 in the morning. They had their regular series of calls. They took their 15-minute lunch breaks or 15-minute coffee breaks. They took their hour-long lunch breaks. They had the 9 to 5. They had the full-time salary. They had the employee benefits, but they couldn't handle the entire workload. So then they hired about 15 contractors. Was it 15? Actually, I think we only had 10 at the time. 5 to 10 contractors it was, something like that. They hired 5 to 10 of us contractors who could carry the extra load of debt that the full-time guys couldn't take. That's how our company got around that means test. If Uber did that, they take their most profitable cities. They establish a small handful of employees to literally, they're basically like full-time employee taxi drivers, only running for Uber instead of a taxi company. They went around, and then anybody else in the city that would like to be a contractor, they would have had a way better chance of fighting this, but they were just looking for the quick buck, and it led them into this situation. So that's really what they could have done, should have done, but yeah, coulda, woulda, shoulda. That's that. All right, so for around $300, you can screen your own movies in your own private theater. $300. Would you, let me know. This is an engagement challenge. Would you pay $300 to stream the latest movie right to your living room? Maybe have yourself a party Just don't have it. Just don't do it in California. The Gestapo's gonna kick in your door and shut down your power if you do it in California. But most of the rest of us, hey, we can still have a group of friends over. Of course, downtown State College here, don't have more than 10 people in your house. The police will come in and bust you. They'll haul you out for having a party, man. Yeah, we can't have more than 10 people in a house. And unfortunately, I'm not in the borough, so I'll sit there and like, I can have house guests. Because I'm outside your jurisdiction. But anyway, so whether or not the Alamo's offer is worth it, you will to largely come down to how many people you invite to the screening and just how much value you put on having your own private theater. With a lingering pandemic, some might see this as a great way to host birthday party or other public gatherings in a not so public way. So basically, you can set up your own little theater, $300, you can get some movies. So, there is a minimum purchase of $150 of food for each theater reservation. That's interesting. So, I don't know. Would you guys pay $350 for your own private theater screening? Let me know. Another Apple one in the news here. And what Apple's up to here, which one was this one? I had so many Apple news items. Yes. So this is actually going to be something that's going to be falling afoul, I'm sure, in the EU. Basically, it's the same thing Google has been doing, only worse. You know, you search up some news, you read the headline on Google, and you're like, they're not clicking through to Google, so you have to pay them for their news. Well, the thing is, though, is if you actually clicked the link on Google, it would actually take you to the news site more often than not. Although I think Google might have been maybe filtering some people through this, this is Apple just literally doing the same thing, only worse. Now when you search things, so this is in macOS, Big Sur has a toggle that's designed to open web links for Apple News directly into Apple News. So you search up the news, and instead of opening the site, it links it directly into Apple News instead. How long before the EU is coming after them for this one? How many publishers? Apple News realize new iOS 14 and Mac Big Sur are by default intercepting traffic to the sites and sending it to Apple News app instead. It's almost kind of what like Grubhub is doing, where they're like, hey, we're going to buy up a domain name that's very much like your business and set up a website, out SEO you, and put our own phone number. So literally every order that goes through your restaurant, we're going to have a premium on. It's like unethical garbage. So as much as I liked Apple on the previous news section, I'm not as happy about this one. So whatever that happens to be worth. All right, in our last story for the day, Mozilla cuts 250 jobs. Firefox says development will be affected. They say that this is, on one hand, they say that this is due to the pandemic. But on the other hand, as TechLord just did a video today about this situation, and I encourage you to watch TechLord's video. He goes into vast amounts of detail and a lot of things here, more than I'm going to do here. I'm going to summarize. The majority, I think it's somewhere like 80+% of their income comes from Google. Think about that. Firefox, getting most of their money from Google for having Google as the default search engine in Firefox. All right, because most people don't change your search engine, and you should switch to Startpage, DuckDuckGo, one of those two. I'm leaning more towards Startpage right now, though, by the way. So Mozilla, they're basically saying that things are going off bad, but part of it says, well, this is just kind of part of a restructuring. They're kind of blaming COVID-19, but kind of not. Here's really what's going on. And again, TechLord's video does a lot more of this. He did a lot of digging into it. But let me summarize what's going on. They looked at things and said, hey, our user base is falling. Our profits are falling. We're not getting a lot of donations. We need to do something else. They're laying off a lot of staff, which some of these include the Firefox development and some of the security team. Well, this is a dangerous thing. So that they can reshift to make money. They're literally causing this shift change to make money. That's what they're doing. It's not about producing a better thing. And this is Firefox's problem, is they are absolutely brain dead. brain dead to their audience. Who are the people using Firefox? It's the people who don't want to use Google. They don't want to use Edge. They're probably more often than not Linux users. They're people who don't want Pocket. We don't want these giant, like all of these weird crap that they keep on doing. We keep on saying, no, we're not interested. Just give us a good functional browser. If Firefox laid off people related to all of the other nonsense they're doing, double down, make Firefox a better browser, actually listen to their users, I bet that their user cap would go back up again. I don't want to see Firefox die, but it looks like Firefox is about to die. I mean, this Fox here needs some CPR, guys. This Fox needs some CPR, but I'm afraid in giving it CPR, it's going to bite me. And that's a kind of a problematic thing. But they're talking about revenue models and things. It's like, dude, you've forgotten who your target audience is. You're going against your grounding policies. And frankly, you're also kind of in many ways going woke. So stop doing that. We have a lot of precedent that doing that does not actually help support and endorse a business. More often than not, people are just going to leave you if you start doing that nonsense. So that's kind of my take. Again, watch TechLore's video on this because he just dove into this in very fine, vast details. But the bottom line is Mozilla is cutting 250 jobs. Firefox development is going to be impacted. Some of these jobs are in their security team, which is terrifying. They're blaming this on one part of COVID, but saying they're doing a restructure to become more profitable. So that's our take on that. Let me know your take in the comments down below. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.